In a world where responsibilities run your life, there's no time for joy, no time for leisure. A two-man army emerges from the shadows. One goal in mind, take you back to the joy of yesteryear. Scratch the surface of your childhood and make you believe once again. From the studio to your speakers, there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. This is Dude, Remember This, with your hosts, Jake the Geek and Zeke the Audio Freak. So sit back and enjoy the ride as we fly down memory lane.
Hey everybody,
How's it
welcome to
going?
another episode. Shut up, Zach, I'm talking. Welcome to another episode of Dude Remember This. I am the not so good looking host, Jake the Geek. With me, as always, is my man lover, Zeke the Audio Freak. Don't edit that out later.
Not a man lover. But...
Don't edit that out later. It's going to be fine. We actually have a special guest with us. Mike Drucker's with us. And we'll get into who he is and why he's awesome and why I just randomly stalked him for years and finally talked him into being on the podcast. So I will return all your loved ones soon. As soon as we're done with the podcast, they'll be back. No big deal.
That's appreciated.
Yeah. So if you guys haven't heard yet, we did our interview last week with Tad Stones. Part 1, Part 2 is on YouTube. You can find the full audio version on our page, just stuckintheheartland.podbean.com. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Man, he just talked and talked and talked, and I mean, I didn't have to do anything. Just basically sit back and just listen about the guy who created, Chippendale Rescue Rangers and Darkwing Duck and just some awesome stuff. Zach, he just kicked back. He didn't really say anything. I told him he's got to start getting on camera. He looks way better than I do. So we're going to see. He said yes. Mike Drucker agrees. You're a good-looking cat.
You're fine. It's okay. You're
Awesome.
both okay. You're both okay. You're both doing well.
Great. So I want to talk about something real weird that happened to me this week. And you're going to like this because this gets into your conspiracy theory stuff. I think we're hanging out too much because you're rubbing off on me, and now I'm starting to get into this conspiracy theory things.
They're great.
No, they're not great. It ruins lives.
No.
I'm terrified now. It's not a good thing to be in. I'm on my way to work. Now, Mike, you live in New York, right, Mike? Is that where you live? Yeah, so you probably don't have to deal with cars or anything like that, right?
I don't have a driver's license.
Yeah, you're lucky.
Really?
Keep that up. Just keep doing that. That's the best way to live, I'm telling you. So I'm having car trouble left and right. It is ridiculous. I have an SUV, a pickup truck, and a Camaro, and a Harley. My Harley's not running. It's in the garage. My Camaro, my wife's driving because her SUV broke down. The Camaro just broke down, and then the check engine light just came on my truck. So I'm real worried right now. So anyways, I'm driving the pickup truck to work the other day. I have an hour drive to get to work.
Right.
I drive the highway the whole way there, so it's not like any restaurant or anything like that is right next to me. They're off the highway. I get to work. I sit down at my desk. I open my phone and look on Facebook because I had a couple notifications. Open up my phone, look on Facebook. And you know how at the top of Facebook it says, like, look, people are talking about, such and such place, wherever you're at.
Yeah, your location.
Yeah, so it said that, but it said, look what people are saying about Little Caesars.
Uh-huh.
Now, this is where it gets weird. On the way to work, I pass a Little Caesars about 2 miles up the road from where I'm working, and I think to myself, maybe I should run there for lunch today. It's cheap. I don't really like it that much, but it's cheap. I can run there real quick, grab some pizza, get back to work, and keep working. So I didn't say it out loud. I didn't Google it, nothing like that. I thought that. Then I get to work, and Facebook says, look what people are saying about Little Caesars. I think Facebook's in my mind, bro.
It might be.
I'm just saying.
It might be.
That's
it
creepy.
Probably is. Technology? Yeah.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
How's it do? Is it like whenever we put the phone to our ear, maybe it's like subtle, like just putting things inside of our minds to
It
read
could
it.
be.
I don't get this stuff, man. Radio waves? I don't know.
Yeah.
You're the expert here. I'm new to this. I'm scared.
I'll look into it.
I need
I'll
you to
figure it
hold
out
me is
for
what
you.
I need. I'm terrified. So I that may not be funny or weird to anybody else. That freaked me out, man. I was looking. I called my wife and I said, just buy a bunch of tinfoil and we're building a bomb shelter and we're just putting tinfoil hats on. We're hiding down the bomb shelter. Just real weird stuff.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
You had an easy week. You had nothing happened to you. Just boring.
No, just worked.
That sounds
Easy week.
That sounds horrible.
I mean, nothing bad happened, so I can't complain.
I mean, that's good.
You know.
That's good.
Yeah. What about you, Mike? You have anything weird going on, or?
We had the president on the show this week.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's not weird at all.
Where we work. So that was weird. It was weird. It's weird going like to work and then having like Secret Service agents search your bag.
Yeah.
And they're cool. They're super professional about it. Like everyone's there to work, but like seeing adult men go through your bag and find like your video games and everything that you keep in like snacks you put in your backpack. Because I sort of pack like I'm going to grandma's when I go to work. Like it's always like all my toys and stuff. So to have like an adult man pull out everything that I put in my backpack, so weirdly, not dehumanizing thing, but it definitely embarrasses you.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I think that I was the only person that I broke emotionally the Secret Service agent because he was looking through my stuff and he was like, "You have so many video games in this bag."
Nice.
Like, it was almost like, "What's the deal with you?" So I somehow, I think, made the Secret Service suspicious of me because I was like, they're like, "You shouldn't have this here at work."
No, nobody carries this many video games.
Nobody has this. But it was cool. It was cool to, like do a show and write a joke that I didn't write one of the jokes Obama said, but I wrote one of the jokes that Jimmy said at the desk with Obama, which was nice. So,
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I guess if people haven't figured out yet, currently Mike Drucker is one of the writers for the Jimmy Fallon Show.
That's right. That's
I
right.
mean, that's cool that I say that. You're not like hiding out from the Secret Service now, right? It's cool.
No, I'm not hiding out. No, we finished the show. We did a double taping that day, so I was there really late. So this weekend has been so nice to relax.
Awesome, man. Well, tell us, tell the people that are listening. Of course, I know about it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said anything to you ever. So tell us a little bit about who you are and how you kind of got into all this.
I'm a comedy writer. I do write for The Tonight Show right now. Before The Tonight Show, I was a writer on Jimmy Fallon's Late Night Show. I sort of just stuck around when it became Tonight Show. Before that, I was at a site called IGN, and I did web videos about video games, sort of making fun of video games. I worked with, Greg Miller and people like that who you guys might know. And then before that, I was what's called a localization editor at Nintendo. So I helped, I don't know Japanese, but I'd work with a Japanese translator to translate games into English. And before that, I was an assistant at SNL, sort of freelancing jokes on the show. And before that, I was in grad school.
That's awesome.
That's impressive.
I sort of went backwards through time, because forwards is boring.
Yeah,
that works.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Way to Tarantino it for us.
Right, exactly.
So what was I got to ask, the main reason that I really started this podcast and we really got into this was I listen to podcasts constantly. I have an hour drive to work. I listen all the way there. Luckily, I work by myself. I'm a yard foreman for a construction company, so I kind of work by myself. I can listen to my podcasts and stuff off and on throughout the day. So I hear Greg Miller a lot and Colin. Yeah. Is he exactly like he sounds? Because he sounds like the coolest guy in the world to hang out with.
Oh, definitely. I mean, like, when you're working with anybody, they become your coworker. So sometimes they annoy you or whatever. But like, he's definitely like that person. He's definitely cool. I mean, the nice thing about like Greg and Colin, especially Colin, is like I've known them long enough where, it's like fun to f with them. Am I allowed to swear? I can.
We'll bleep it out. We'll bleep it out.
It's fun to mess with him.
Yeah.
One of my favorite, John Mulaney. John Mulaney is another comedian. One of my favorite jokes he has is, "I want to star in a podcast called Can I Swear on This?"
Yeah.
Which is just nobody ever knows. But it's cool. Greg's super professional. He's super fun to work with. I mean, IGN was such a fun place to work. I think because when I was hired, they just knew that they wanted to do comedy videos. They didn't know what they wanted to do. They wanted to do a talk show. They knew that, but they didn't know like how it was going to be framed or what order the show would go in or how it would look. And so it was kind of this cool opportunity to go in and just create something with someone who's really fun like Greg.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's I love the the back and forth that him and Colin have. It's just hilarious. And so that was a big reason why I wanted to start a podcast was because, just he was extremely inspirational, and I listened to him on your podcast, and
Oh, thank you.
and that was a big thing for me. Was like he's just like, I wanted it, so I just did it. These are the
Yeah.
things that I wanted, and I just did it. And so many people live in the real world, in this box, and it's like I was having a conversation with somebody earlier,
Right.
and I said the issue is that everybody lives in the real world, and the truth is there is no real world. The world is whatever you want it to be. Just do it.
Right. Well, I mean, like, I always, my dad, is a cool dude, but he wasn't like in entertainment. My mom, worked for a grocery store in Sears. Like, you know what I mean? Like, my family's not special or rich or anything. Like, I grew up in Florida. So it's just like one of those things where I wanted to do this, so I just started doing it. You know what I mean? Like, there's no, I think that everyone in their heads has this old vision of like, like that, like there's some big fat guy in a suit who has like a treasure chest to the entertainment industry.
Big cigar.
Right, he has a big cigar and he has a contract that scrolls, that rolls up rather than gets, photocopied. And that's just not the case. It's just something that you do this for a while, then you get paid a little bit, then you get paid a little bit more, and suddenly that's like your job now.
Yeah, well, hopefully eventually that's kind of the road that we're on. That's like
Yeah.
And that was the thing with us. It was just people do it every day. Let's just do it. If people don't find us funny, whatever, at least we're doing it. And if people don't like the stuff we're doing, who cares? At least we're trying,
Right.
And
We haven't lost anything.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Other than money, time, and respect. But yeah,
Right.
Nobody needs any of that stuff, Mike.
But at least you tried. Like, my thing is like the worst person I ever meet doing comedy is like people in their like older people who are like, yeah, I could have done that. I just didn't. That didn't feel like it. And I'm like, no, you didn't do it. You didn't even try to do it.
You couldn't have.
Right.
That's, that's the whole thing. Is that's like me walking into surgery and just being like, I could have done that.
But I think there's people like that. There's people who could have been. They're like, I could have been an athlete, but I didn't feel like it. And you're like, why didn't you feel like it then?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Just do it. I mean, that's
Do it.
If you want to do something, do it.
Yeah. Shia LaBeouf
Really.
told me just do it. I do it a lot. So it's I listen.
right, though.
I'm doing
That
it.
dude's crazy, but he's right.
He was just not too far from me in Indiana, and I was very scared for
On
my
that
life.
trip that he's doing.
Yeah. Did you hear about this trip thing that he's
Yeah, you're
doing?
like, isn't he hitchhiking across the country?
Yeah, it's
Uh-huh.
just like take me anywhere or something like that.
I would
Yeah.
not pick him up.
Right.
No.
I would pick up a man with an axe before him.
Yeah. No, he was just maybe 5-10 minutes. He was having pictures taken from where I work, and I was seeing it all, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go home now because I feel uncomfortable him being that close to me. I'm
Right.
terrified of that guy. He's crazy.
Yeah.
We should have. We're gonna get him on the show.
Get him on the show. I've never met him personally. I feel bad calling him crazy, but he's probably crazy.
Yeah. Or he's a genius, and
One
he's
of the
just.
He's a genius. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's it. I think he's a genius.
I think he probably is.
Here's the thing.
realistically.
Why don't you just go watch Even Stevens and tell me he's crazy? No, he's a genius.
Yeah.
This is a great television program.
Yeah, it was good.
So, well, the main reason that I wanted to have you here is this week we want to talk about video games.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, who can I get to talk with us about video games? Well, I know, there's a lot of people that I could try to reach out to that more than likely are just going to be jerks. Mike Drucker seems like a real sweetheart. I'm going to reach out to him.
Thank you. I try. I've done some terrible things in my day. I've done terrible things.
Yeah.
But thank you. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of it, man. Yeah, and that's actually why we're here. This is an intervention.
Oh, thank you. I need that.
Just stop.
Yeah.
No, the stuff you did Up at Noon is hilarious. I mean, and I know you probably. I mean, how much was that all you, or I mean, did you and Greg work together, and then Brian?
It was me, Brian, and Greg, and it's all three of us sitting in rooms, having fun, writing things down, coming up with ideas. So like there'd be jokes when we did like monologue jokes. There'd be jokes that were just my joke, or just Brian's joke, or just Greg's joke. But for a lot of the sketches, it was just us sitting in a room with a whiteboard, being like, "What do we want to do?" And it was just so much fun to just have 3 hours alone with like a glass of whiskey, and then write a joke about Mega Man, like write a whole bit about Mega Man.
Right.
That's how a lot of comedy writing is. A lot of it's collaborative. It's bouncing ideas off people.
Sure.
It's rarely just like breaking off by yourself and being alone in a room.
Yeah. I mean, that's with anything. I mean, you're always more open and have more fun whenever you're around buddies, guys and that's why I think it works so well with the three of you together. Especially, I mean, the stuff that Greg's awesome, obviously I've already said that, but the stuff that you and Brian, whenever he would be on camera, and I watched before we had you on, I rewatched some of the stuff, and I watched the best of that. Right,
yeah.
I think it was like the last thing you did whenever you were leaving. And some of that stuff just had me rolling. My wife looked over and she's like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you?" I said, "You don't worry about what I'm doing, lady."
That was such a. The crazy thing is, like, I've been at Tonight Show now about 3 years, and I was only at IGN for 1 year, but they feel like the same amount of time. Like, I just did so much crazy stuff at IGN that it just feels like it's just such a vibrant place to be.
Oh, yeah.
And the stuff Greg's doing now is awesome, too. Like, I did his live show a month ago.
Yeah.
Or maybe 2 weeks ago.
It wasn't a month ago. I think it was 2 weeks. It may have been a week ago, actually.
It may have been a week ago.
I'm pretty sure it was a week.
I just spent every day I'm drunk, so I don't know what's going on ever. I don't know where I am, what I'm doing. I don't know who you are. No, it was like a week ago. But it was so great. It was so awesome seeing what Greg's doing now and being a part of it. It was so weird to be a part of it. Like, I met Cisco there.
Yeah.
Of the Thong Song, which, might also say more about how Cisco's doing than how I'm doing, but it was still crazy.
I hope that everywhere Cisco goes, he's introduced us. This is Cisco.
The Thong Song.
Of the Thong Song.
Of the Thong Song. Not
awesome.
The paper towels or... Because there's always like... Never mind, it's not important.
Yeah. Well, right after that, you went and did a show with Bobcat, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
I did a show in LA with my friend Caitlin Gill, who does a show with Bobcat Goldthwait, which was awesome. I'd met Bobcat once before when he was because he does a lot of directing. He does a lot of TV directing and movie directing, and he directed one of Patton Oswalt's specials that I was the opener for.
Okay.
So I had met him there, but I hadn't seen him in 2 or 3 years, so it was really cool to see him again.
Yeah. It looks like you're doing a lot of stuff, man. You're really, I think, it's hard with any, and I could say this because I don't do stand up, but it's just hard work. You can see it, and all you guys, it's a lot of hard work, and I like seeing a comedian that I think is funny start to kind of climb the rank, the ranks, and it's like, all right, and then I just can't wait, for the day that somebody's just like, oh man, did you hear about that Mike Drucker guy? He came out of nowhere, and it's like, first of all, he didn't come out of nowhere. He got his big break on Dude, Remember This?
Right.
So, of course, the podcast, we talk about, I know I'm killing you with this chair squeaking, aren't I?
Yeah, it's
I
driving
know,
me
it's
nuts.
you're have fun editing that. But it's the whole point behind this podcast is we want to go back to when things were simple, when things were fun, when we didn't have so much Trump and so much Hillary and all that stuff. We want to go back to where we weren't fearing for our lives and Armageddon was so close. And one of the things that, of course, anytime you think about your childhood or anything like that, video games. I mean, come on. Of course, grown men like us who still play video games, it's no big deal.
Right.
But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some games that were a big influence. I mean, obviously, you went to work at IGN, so video games, probably drove that a lot, and that must have been amazing to think, oh, man, I used to sit at home and play Mario all the time, and now I get to make fun of Mario on camera and stuff like that. So tell me a little bit about some games that kind of come to mind when you think about your childhood.
Well, I remember when I was like 3 maybe, because I was born in '84, and my parents didn't have a Nintendo right away. But when I was maybe 3, they were getting a Nintendo. And I don't know if they were showing I think it was for my sister. Like, my sister wanted a Nintendo, and I was like, yeah, me too, because my sister's older. And I remember being like, I'm not going to play this Mario game. I want to play Duck Hunt. I just want to shoot some ducks.
Yeah.
In my head as a 3-year-old, I was like, this Mario game looks terrible. You just walk around and jump on things. But the Duck Hunt game, that's going to be the big thing in my life. I remember specifically being certain that Duck Hunt was a better game. And I was 3 or 4. I had no knowledge. I didn't even know what a video game was. I just knew that this looked like the more fun option. And then we got it, and I played Duck Hunt for 5 minutes, and I was like, oh, yeah, okay, this is a game. And then, Mario, you explore and everything. But as far as my childhood, I just remember video games being, sort of... I think I was lucky to be sort of the, NES generation. Because it was after... Because Atari games are just so ugly and abstract.
Yeah.
And they just look like toys. Whereas I think Nintendo was the first time you're like, oh, this is something that's happening on screen.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm playing a movie live, and I think I was lucky enough to grow up with that and be like, oh my god, like we all have this and go over someone's house and like you'd sleep over someone's house and play Nintendo all night. Like I don't know what sleepovers were like before Nintendo. What did
Right.
children do?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It sounds horrible. I mean,
Yeah,
It sounds terrible. Like did you
horrible.
talk?
yeah,
Yeah.
nobody wants to talk. Oh, let's talk about our feelings and know more about each other.
No.
Shut up and put it in Mario.
Right. So I have all these feelings of like Mario, like just like exploring it and feeling like almost there was just such a sense of magic to it, and it's almost like the way someone else described it once is like the reason that the Beatles sound kind of normal now is because everything else after the Beatles took what they did and made it normal,
Right.
and I feel like that's what Mario did as well.
yes.
Is
Yeah.
like now you look back and you play Mario, like, oh, it's just a good game. But like at the time, you're like, this is incredible.
Right.
Mhm.
Like, and it sounds facetious to call Mario like the Beatles of its era, but I feel like it did a similar thing of being like, oh no, this is a thing that's going to become a much bigger thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh,
And I
yeah.
know there was other games that did
Right.
that, but not like that. I mean, so I was born in '87, and I'm kind of a strange creature because my dad is awesome, and whenever I say awesome, so much sarcasm. He had to spend his money on other things. Lots of the booze and such, and which it is what it is. But I started off. I remember playing Pong. When I was little. That's the first video game I really remember playing, and it was like, this is cool because I'm moving things on the screen and I'm interacting with it, and this is awesome. But then my grandma, I think it was my grandma, got us an NES, and by this time it had already been out for a while. So there were some decent games, but Mario, of course, comes with it.
Yeah.
So that's what I had, Mario and Duck Hunt, and just playing Mario for the first time was just what? It's like going from Pong as a little kid, going straight
Right.
from that to playing Mario. It was just like, all right, nothing else is ever going to be cool again. It's over.
Yeah.
It's just done.
Well, then you finish the first level, then he walks into a pipe, and you're like, oh, I'm underground now.
Yeah. It's
Like,
what?
what? Wait a minute. There's different music. There's different, like, the characters look different.
Yeah.
Like, just the idea that, like, it's not just the same world repeated with different obstacles. Like,
Right.
then there's a nighttime level, then there's an underwater level that has entirely different physics. Just
Yeah.
and just what that did.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
I still go back and play sometimes, and like, especially if I'm like, I guess drunk, but like I'll go back and play it drunk, and I'll be like, this is amazing. I'm so delighted by it. It's still a delightful game.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. And the thing is, too, is with guys like us, it ties us back
Oh
to
yeah,
that feeling to where it's, there's times, and I think, we're all human. We get depressed sometimes. We have issues. I mean, you don't. You're Mike Drucker. You're amazing.
right.
But most
thank you.
us
Yeah.
normal people.
Oh no, I definitely have issues.
we will be depressed or just things aren't going right, and there's times for me that happens, and I jump into video games.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And I'll play Mario. A lot of people they'll jump into Skyrim and stuff like that, which is great games, and I love that kind of exploring game. But I don't want to get lost in a game like that. That's scary.
Right.
I just want to go back and tap into what it was like at that point as a kid.
Right. Well, my thing too is like, I don't have a lot of time as much as I used to. So for me, like, I still spend way too much money on games, but I'll get a game that's like this like 300-hour role-playing game, and then I'll play 2 hours of it and just not have time to finish it. Whereas with Mario, I can like open up my 3DS and go back to it and be like, oh right, okay, I can relax. I can let myself.
Yes.
I also don't have to like sit through a 30-minute tutorial. I don't have to wait for an update. I don't have to, like, I mean, I love video games so much, but I've lost so many nights. I've been like, all right, I have some time. I have an hour. I'm going to sit down.
Yeah.
I'm going to play a game. I'm going to play Doom, the new Doom, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, here's an update for 47 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I have 13 minutes where I don't accomplish anything. I get to a checkpoint and then turn it off, then come back a week later.
Yeah.
Right.
with old games, like I kind of miss that. I miss that quality of you'd put it in, you'd start it up. Now sometimes that meant games were terrible because they didn't tell you how to play it. Like I have games like Marble Madness. Have you tried to get someone who has not played Marble Madness to play Marble Madness? It's like putting someone through physical therapy. Like they don't know how to move. They don't know, because it's like you're supposed to roll this stupid ball down a level. And as a kid, like I don't know how long it took me to get to learn it, but it's just natural to me now.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas like it doesn't tell you anything. It just throws a ball down and you have to go.
Well, see, I kind of like that though. I kind of miss a little bit about that because when you're a kid. Now, again, we don't have time for it, but back then, when that kind of stuff would happen, like I remember for some reason, and it's still like one of my favorite games, and the game's not that great, and it's called Daydreamin' Davy. It was an NES game.
I've never Davy, Florida.
It's about a little boy named Davy.
Davy. I'm sorry. I thought it said Daydreamin' Davy, and I thought of there's a city near me named Davy, Florida, which is like the worst city in Florida.
That's it. That's the one.
So I was like, it's like a trailer park type game.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I'm
You have to stack trailers. You have to throw a lot of frogs.
Have you ever heard of the comedian Mike Lawrence? He's a super funny dude, but he's from Davie. But if you saw him, he talks about that all the time. All right, sorry, go on.
Now I have to look into him. Thanks, because I had time to do that. But no, but this game, Daydreamin' Davy, and I remember my mom used to play video games with me, and she still would. Like if she was over and hanging out, and I was just like, "We're playing video games today, Mom," she would. I mean, I hooked her up with a Wii, and she plays that all the time and stuff. But we would sit and play Daydreamin' Davy for hours. I remember playing that game probably more than, of course, like Zelda, Mario 3, stuff like that. Like, the ones that we all played a ton. I played more. But as far as like the second tier games, it was like, I played that game so much, and I don't think I ever got past the second level.
There was a game called Solar Jet Man, or something like that, and it's terrible. And I remember getting it for Christmas, and that was like the game I had to play for like 6 months until my birthday. Yeah. And so I was like, and I hate it. And I hated it when I was a kid. I like that. You know how it's rare to do that. Like usually you love the game, then you come back later and you're like, oh, it's terrible. Yeah. As a kid, I hated it, and I still played it. And then it was in that Rare collection for the Xbox. And I was like, no. Like I was almost mad that it was there. I was almost angry to see it back. It's almost like if you like went to like a store and like the girl that not the girl that got away, but a really bad ex was there, and you were like, no. Now I can't come here anymore because I know you're here. That's what it felt like. Yeah. It was. I was mad that a game was in the collection of games that I paid money for.
Yeah. Well, another game that I think was really hard for me, but I loved. But again, I went back and played it recently, and I got further than I ever have, and I'm like, oh, this is a whole new world. It was Wizards and Warriors. Did you ever play Wizards and Warriors?
Oh yeah, I definitely did. That's for grown-ups.
Yeah. Dude, when you were a kid, you didn't think about that.
No. So you just died a lot.
Yeah, a whole lot. You'd fall from the trees, and the birds would come down. They're gonna get you, Zach. It's not gonna be fun. But yeah, I remember. I think the reason what sucked me into that game was the music. The music to Zach later. Whenever we do this, you edit this, put the music in right here so people can hear it. Because man, that music was amazing. It was so good. Why don't you say something? What about you? You like video games? You got video games running room.
Yeah.
Oh, got him.
Mario, hands down, Mario was my first memory of a game that just submerged me, and kind of helped grow my imagination in a way. Yeah. From playing the game,
What a slam to Mario. You have no imagination.
I have a great imagination. No, but after that, I would have to say Zelda. Zelda is probably between NES and then the Super Nintendo version of that game.
When you walk outside and see it raining in the Super Nintendo Zelda, like you're like, it's raining in a video game.
Yeah.
Right.
This is not real.
Yeah. Such a good game, though.
There's so many games, though, that did that to where it's like we played Mario, we go from playing Atari or whatever to playing Mario, and it's like, this is it. We're done. We've arrived. Yeah. We're here now.
Yeah. And
then you play something like, Zelda, and it's like, oh, this is amazing. And then you play like Aladdin on the Super Nintendo,
Yeah.
And it's like, this is a real cartoon all of a sudden. Nothing's ever looked this great. And then and then later you play Metal Gear Solid or something like that. And it's like, there's a whole storyline and we've arrived. And it just keeps like, I'm just waiting for the day to where it's like, you just plug it in and then you're just literally there. Not virtual reality, like teleporting you there. You're actually there. You're fighting for your life. Yeah. It's going to happen.
Well, have you had a chance to use the Vive?
Not yet, no.
I got a couple friends who work at Valve who let me try it out. And it's crazy how good it is. Cause I remember like being a kid and like going to the mall and paying $10 to have like 5 minutes in like a virtual reality helmet. That's like too heavy and it looks bad. Like some of the stuff.
A whole lot.
Yeah. Some of the stuff in the Vive is like, it almost feels like the way you felt as a kid going to a theme park. Like it's that sense of like, oh my God, I'm here. Like you, and I don't mean like even like, oh, it feels like you're a kid again. Like you literally like, you're like, oh, this is amazing. It's
right.
Try it out. If you get a chance, if you have like a Best Buy that has one that's showing them off, it's surprising how cool it is.
Yeah, I want to. I mean, I really do because I've heard so much about it, you know, and following IGN and different podcasts and everything. Yeah. And of course, all Greg ever talks about is Sony VR, but which I hear is also great. But I want to try it real bad because I feel like that like you're saying, that's the next thing. It's all these times it's like, oh, this is it. And then I have 3 kids, so I'm thinking.
Share it with them.
No, they're not playing. Come on, son. No, I'm just thinking like how we're sitting here today and we're talking about, oh, the NES, man, it blew our minds. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It's just one of these days, you know, Lex, he's going to be like, oh, man, I'll tell you what. You just remember whenever I went from playing the PS4 and then all of a sudden, bam, we had virtual reality. Woo, that was amazing. And you know, now we're really actually fighting real dinosaurs and everything's horrible because Trump won.
Wow.
But yeah, you can edit that out if you want. I don't care. Leave it. No, but it's just cool that they're gonna have that same experience. It's just, I love the idea that video games have not stopped. I mean, they just
they won't stop.
And
either.
They've reached the path. Yeah.
Yeah, and just when you think it's like, this is it, how can they do anything better? It's, oh, remember how we tried virtual reality before and it made you all swimmy in the head and you didn't like it and your eyes bled for a week. Well, guess what? We made it better. Yeah. And it's like, oh my goodness, this is amazing that we live in this time. I seen somebody the other day had said something kind of slamming video games. It was something about, you know, when I was a child, I was as a child, but whenever I became a man, I put away childish things. And it's like, people need to get rid of video games. And I was like, I don't know if you've ever played Fallout, but that's not for a child.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think a lot of people, you know, especially people who haven't played video games since they were a kid, they still think it's like, all right, it's like, you know, I run across a level and I'm done. And then if you show them something like, have you played like Firewatch?
No, but it's on my list.
I mean, if you played something like that, it's basically a movie. Yeah. And I don't mean like it's like watching a movie. I mean, it's like the story's movie-like, what happens is movie-like, and whether or not you think it's a good movie, you know, people just the people who say that just haven't played video games anymore. And those are always the same people who like then go and, you know, watch a football game. It's like, no, it's the same thing. You're also allowed to enjoy things in your life.
Absolutely. Well, sure. And we live in a society now, though, that it's like, no. You like that thing, and that's dumb, and that's wrong. You're an idiot for it. Mm-hmm. But I like this thing, and I'm a genius for it.
Or like you're a parent now. It's like, I'm not going to not feed my children. I'm just going to.
Exactly.
Like my
hold on. I have 3 kids. One of them may not eat, and it depends on what game it is and what system it is. Yeah. I'm slowly weaning my daughter down, so that way once, you know, PlayStation VR comes out, she'll be good for a little bit to where she doesn't eat that much. So it's going to be fun. Somebody's going to call child services. It's going to be fine.
But then you'll be in the virtual world and you won't know. You'll have your virtual family.
I wouldn't even know.
Right.
Speaking of the whole virtual, did you read Ready Player One?
I did.
So what do you think about the fact, because I read it and then shortly after all this news started breaking about virtual reality and all this stuff, and I was like, yep, this is it. It's going to happen. Yeah. And then Hillary and Trump and all this other stuff, and I'm like, it's seriously going to happen now. Dystopian future.
We're definitely reaching a dystopian future of some like weird like Neuromancer, Ready Player One type sort. It's so crazy to see this happening. I hope that it becomes affordable enough for people to really use it.
Yeah.
What I'm afraid of is that companies are going to keep charging an arm and a leg, and it's just going to be people who can't afford it, and then nobody will use it. Then people will be like, well, I guess nobody wants it, and that's not the case. Like, because have you like used like Google Cardboard? They're like
regular cardboard and a Google search stuff. It's almost the same thing.
spend $15 on Amazon and get like Google Cardboard, or even they have a ViewMaster that you put your phone into, and it's really cheap, low rent VR. And it's cheap, low rent VR. But if you show it to like I showed it to my mom, and she like Googled her home address and did Google Street View in virtual reality, and it cost $15. But like it freaked her out to be able to be like, oh, I'm on my street as a kid, and it cost me nothing. I think stuff like that's really great too, and I hope that people really keep funding cheap virtual reality, because for us, we're gamers, so we want like we want Fallout 4 on virtual reality to like live in another world.
Terrifying.
But it's cool for our parents to like watch a football game from the front seats without having to worry about anything.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's probably where we're heading though. I see your point and being worried about it, but I really do think Sony is helping to bring, because everybody's like, oh, $800, $1,000 and all this stuff, plus you have to buy the computer and everything, and Sony's like, listen, here's the deal, this is what we got, and it's like what, $300 or something like that, which is a lot, but for a lot of people, but at the same time, it's like you're gonna spend that on a console anyways.
Yeah.
Right.
Get this and try it. So I was happy whenever I heard that Sony dropped the price that much, and they're good about they'll drop it again, and it'll be.
I pre-ordered mine. Like I totally, day one I pre-ordered.
I know.
I'm the worst person in video games. I'm someone who will always fall for it again and again. I'm always like, oh, this time they're not going to trick me. And then they just hit me in the back of the head with a baseball bat, and I'm like, I fell for it again.
Stop going to those vans. Those vans never really have candy. I promise.
I always fall for it. I always end up pre-ordering, not everything, but I definitely fall for it a lot.
Yeah,
but I get so excited.
Yes, and sometimes you get cool stuff with the pre-order, so it's like, all right, well, yeah, maybe it was, but I got this cool statue and a T-shirt, so I'm good to go.
Yeah.
So I can never pre-order stuff because, again, I have 3 kids and I'm married, and if I pre-order something, my wife's like, "What? Hold on a second. I mean, you just spent money on nothing. Like, it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. I promise."
Yeah. But I think. I really do think that it's going to get to the point to where it is cheap enough to where everybody can use it, and I hope so, at least, because I think you're right. I think eventually it's going to be something to where people, and a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's just going to disconnect us more. I don't really think that's the case. No. I mean, people are already faces glued to their phone all the time anyways.
Right.
It's like, oh, yeah, so what's going to be where people are just going to lay in bed all the time? Again, Ready Player One, it's probably going to happen. Right. But lay in bed all the time.
I would be okay with. I would be okay with going to work from bed.
Yeah.
I'd be fine with that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we're in a bedroom right now. That's what we're trying to do. It's gonna happen. But no, I think I think it's gonna be really cool. I'm looking forward to the time that it sounds dumb. My favorite thing to do online is shop. Even though I may not spend a lot of money because, again, I have 3 kids. But I'm on Amazon all the time. I think it'll be cool one day to basically shop in virtual reality. So instead of just scrolling and everything, you have the headset on and you're literally walking around an Amazon store and looking through the rack at the T-shirts and, going around and looking at stuff, flipping through the games, comic books, you're going through the rack and the comics.
Which is so great.
Yeah, and it's possible, and it probably will happen. And if they do it, now that I said it first, they owe me some money.
They owe you $500 million, I think?
I'll take that. Yeah. I mean, it's no big deal. Turns out, once I get that, I'm never leaving my bed for real. It's going to be great. Well, I mean, have you checked out any of the VR stuff yet, or have you been able to?
No, I haven't had a chance yet, other than, the old school stuff, but no, not the new stuff. I really want to, though. I think that it will bring gaming to a whole new level.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's cool to it's gonna be cool when we're elderly and we can put on virtual reality headsets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
How less sad is it gonna be?
Yeah, right. It makes it a little bit easier. We might not remember it 10 minutes after we do it, but
that might be a good thing too. It's new every single time. It's like, oh wow! It's like, yeah, he's been in that all day. But another thing I'm looking forward to is I have a cousin that I'm really close with that lives in North Carolina, and I live in Indiana. so I don't get to see him that often. And you know, we like to hang out and play music together and stuff. And I'm like, man, it'd be cool to eventually be able to sit down at my house with my guitar and everything, put on the virtual reality headset. He's at his house with his guitar. He puts on the virtual reality headset, and then we're just sitting there playing music together,
Right.
you know, like we're hanging out. So
there's so many cool things that could happen, and I'm hoping to happen with this. And it might be like, you know, I think we're gonna have like 5 to 10 years of like okay stuff and crap, and then I think like maybe in 10 years is when we're gonna get some really cool stuff.
absolutely. Have you, speaking of Ready Player One, have you read Ready Player One or heard anything about it?
No, I've heard of it, but I haven't had the chance to read it.
It's
I know
so
I
good.
suck.
Yeah.
I should read it. I should.
It's so good, and
It's
I
a
mean,
fast read.
you got because you can't stop reading it.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing is once you start reading it, it's like you have to keep going. It's so good. It's so much stuff from our childhood that it's like. This week we're sponsored by Ready Player One. No, I'm just joking. But they have the movie. You know, Spielberg's doing the movie, and that's perfect. I mean, come on. The whole book is just basically praising Spielberg, anyways, talking about how amazing it is, and he's like, "Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and make a movie based off that book that's completely about me."
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what. We're gonna go ahead and take a break real quick. So we will be right back.
This is Tad Stones, the creator of Darkwing Duck, and I say, dude, remember this?
Dear Diary, it's me again. I'm so bummed today. You know why? Well, of course you do. It's my clothes. None of them fit me right. I'm wearing the same stuff I got back in 1993. I want new clothes so bad, but nothing fits me right. It doesn't help that I'm shaped like a pear. I don't know. I just wish someone could help me. All well. Until next time, diary. With all my love, Zeke. XOXO. It won't fit. My clothes are so small. Whoa! Hey,
Wait, what? Whoa, who are you?
Calm down. Calm down. I'm here to help.
Did you just poop in my toilet?
Yes, sir, I did. That's not...
What?
You have bigger issues. Don't worry about what's going on in the bathroom. Worry about what's going on your body right now. What is this?
Yeah, it doesn't
What is
fit.
it? It doesn't fit.
I can't help it.
You think that's the worst of it? It
can't.
doesn't fit. Listen. I need to talk to you about something, okay?
Okay.
It's more than about the clothes fitting. It's about the design. It's about what the clothes say about the man inside of the clothes. The man that's in here. And look at this. You got this thing going.
I cut it so it would fit.
But yeah, but you got that Teen Wolf thing going on. Nobody wants to see that. Here's the deal. You need to get rid of these duds and get you some fly shirts. I can help.
You can help.
Are you strapped for cash?
Yes.
No big deal.
Really?
These clothes are going to be cheap.
Cheap.
And
I like cheap.
they're going to be the designs that you want, that say who you are.
Me? Personally.
You personally.
They will reflect
They're
my
going to reflect
personality.
your personality.
Really?
It's going to
And
be amazing.
You can show me these.
I can show you these.
Well, show me. Whoa, what? This?
Exactly.
It's a dinosaur.
On?
And E.T.
That's it.
I love that. I love E.T. I love dinosaurs.
I know.
This is from Snortees.
Snortees.com just hooked you up.
Wow, I can't believe this.
How about that material?
It feels great. It
breathes.
fits great. It breathes.
Perfect.
I
And
can feel the lungs are right here.
that's it. It shows who you are.
It does.
You know what? Next time that you get just downhearted and you're not sure what to do, I need you to go over to snortees.com. That is what's going to rejuvenate that person inside of you.
Yeah.
Snortees.com. Guys, we're back. Awesome. So, now, Mike, you do a hilarious podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your podcast.
My podcast is called How to Be a Person. Me and another writer named Jess Dweck, who used to write on Tonight Show, but she now works on a Netflix show. We used to talk about how we're both just social cripples. We don't know how to talk to people. We don't know how to do human things. So we were like, oh, we have friends who are like good at making friends or like know how to live in another country. So we started inviting them and asking them questions and trying to like figure out how to be less awkward.
Right.
Because we're so awkward. We're like, for comedy people, we're just nightmares. Yes. Check it out. Yeah, check out the podcast, please. Yeah. We need the listeners.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're almost at a dozen. So 13 would be good.
I'm one of them.
Thank you for listening. So yeah, it's just us trying to be less socially awkward. We've been doing it over Skype now because now Dweck's in LA writing for Netflix, but it's still good.
Yeah. Oh, Skype's amazing. I mean,
yeah.
Look, we get to hang out for a little bit. I mean, it's so perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's some people. I'm sure after we had Tad on last week, he's like, I'm deleting Skype. I'm never talking. What a bunch of weirdos.
It's also how weird we are that we have this technology. Like, speaking of childhood, remember seeing like Back to the Future 2? Or like even the idea of like old video phones you'd see in like Office Depot that like had a little bad black and white screen.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, cool, there's video phones now. And now we have it, and like someone's like, hey, do you want to FaceTime? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to do that. I don't want to video. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife's always doing that. Like, I'll be at work or something, and she'll FaceTime me, so I'll answer it because I think, oh, maybe the kids are doing something. So I'm like, hey, and she goes, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, what time is it? What do you think I'm doing? I'm at work. Like, what do you mean? And it's like, do you need something? She's like, no, just wanted to see you. And I mean, I guess it's cool because I do work. You know, if I'm gone, I have an hour drive, so it's like just to get there. And a lot of times I work 10, 12-hour days, so it's like I'm gone 14 hours out of the day. Right. So now you see why I'm doing this podcast. That way, hopefully I can get out of doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's just one of those deals to where it's cool, but at the same time, it's like, which I mean, she FaceTiming my son. I missed my son's kindergarten graduation, which is kind of a joke, anyways, because it's like, yeah, okay, go to first grade now. But congratulations. But it meant a lot to him, so it's which is great, and it's awesome, and I am proud of him. But so she FaceTimed me, so I got to actually watch what was going on, and then once he was done, he's seen that I was like, hey, I'm kind of there, buddy. Like, let's pretend, and he was stoked about it. So yeah, it's cool.
Well, and he's also growing up with it. Like, I mean, his generation will be the generation of, oh yeah, he saw it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he participated. He wasn't there, but he saw it. He observed. Like, you weren't. It's not like you were like at a bar when it was happening.
Right.
It's like, but I remember like when I was a kid, my because I grew up in Florida, and my aunt used to work at Disney World, and she didn't have a family, so she would get us free tickets, and we'd go to Disney World all the time for free.
Nice.
Yeah, and so we'd like sleep at her. We'd like drive 4 hours north, go sleep at her place, go to Disney World, and come back. And like my parents had spent gas and food.
Does she still need a family? Can I call her?
No, or? She left. She got a family and left Disney World. So I was in at the perfect time.
People are so selfish.
But I remember going to Epcot and going on Spaceship Earth, where they go through human history and predict the future. And like as a kid, being like there was like footage of like people being at work and seeing their kids in like another country, or like people taking classes remotely. And as a kid, I was like, this will never happen. Like I was so sure that none of this was possible. Like I was like, this isn't gonna. And now it's the most boring thing in the world. Like if someone's like, again, like if someone's like, I want to FaceTime you, you're like, all right, give me 5 minutes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we have magic.
Well, and it's great. Like I like the older generation that's still learning this stuff.
Yeah. My dad.
Yeah. Well, and like my stepdad, the other day, he sent a text to his dad, and it's the first text he's ever sent, and it was just like a week ago, and he got so excited. He's like telling me, "It's like I just sent a text message." Right. And it's like, yeah, well, that's completely normal. Well,
that's what we do now.
Yeah, it's
that's
like
what you do.
It's not cool anymore, bro.
Yeah.
Chill out.
But our kids are gonna have like some like weird like hologram stuff that we just don't understand.
I hope
that's
so.
the thing. Yeah.
I really hope so.
Yeah. I mean, well, and that's what I was saying before about the video. I think video games eventually get to that point. You don't have to have a headset on or anything. Maybe just like, I know Google's got Google Glasses, but maybe it's just something like that. Or literally, you just take a box and put it in the middle of the room, and all of a sudden, the whole room changes into something completely different. It's gonna happen.
Or
it's
an
gonna be
implant in your brain, like from Gamer.
See, dude, that's whenever you start getting conspiracy theory stuff, and it starts scaring everybody. I mean,
I would like that though. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, right. Just getting a chip just implanted. See, I don't think I would do it because I would be the guy that they're like, here, I'm going to put this in the back of your neck, and then you can do whatever you want. And I'm like, mine's going to malfunction. I know it will. I'm that guy. I have horrible car trouble. I don't want to put something in me, and all of a sudden I'm constantly going to the mechanic, and I'm like, look, man, something's going on with this chip. It keeps smoking, and it's making a real weird noise, and I'm kind of lagging. So I need you to pick it up. But I mean, I think you're right. I think it probably would end up being something like that. We're just going to be computers.
Yeah, which would be I'm also okay with. I'm
Yeah.
okay with being like a brain in a jar. That's
That'd be
fine.
Yeah.
Like my body's not great. Like I'm not losing anything by switching.
Yeah.
You know?
So let's see. I got this
Right.
with a jar. That's a pretty nice jar.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I could probably do that. Yeah, Futurama doesn't look that bad. Let's just go.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So what games are you playing now?
I'm playing a lot of Doom. I've been playing Doom. Been playing Overwatch a lot. I've also been playing a game called Duskers, which is this indie game that's I'm trying to put everybody on it because it's this really weird indie game that's it's like $15 or $20. And what it is imagine like in movies like Alien in the 70s when they had these old computers, and it was like you'd see spaceships, but the computers were these old janky things. It's as if you were using a computer in the future in the 70s.
Okay.
And you're exploring a spaceship with these drones, and you're trying to like explore them, and there's like things on the ships that are trying to kill the drones.
Yeah.
You're trying to like save your own ship. Check out a trailer for it. It's really hard to describe, but it's all also done on the keyboard, so everything is almost written like you're programming, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so you'll be like, go to room this, go to room that, and it doesn't look like it'd be fun at all, but it's actually fascinating.
Yeah, you're
It
selling me
starts
on
to
it.
get crazy. What I like about it is you're playing a pilot on a spaceship controlling drones on another spaceship, and because you're using your keyboard, there's no like interface disconnect. You're like, okay, I'm just typing the commands that man would be typing.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And it almost like because it's so janky and weird and indie, it really draws you in.
Uh-huh.
Check out a trailer. It's weird. It's not for everybody, but it's a game that really surprised me.
What's
Yeah.
it called again?
Duskers.
Duskers, Duskers, and it's Mac and PC.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What are you playing right now, Zach? You're about to move. You're not playing hardly anything.
I've just been playing old school Super Nintendo right now.
Yeah.
NBA Jam,
Yes.
Super Mario Land, Street Fighter 2. That's really about it. Yeah.
Yeah, Zach sent me a picture the other day, and he's like, check out this Super Nintendo, man. My collection's on point. And then today I sent him a picture of my Super Nintendo collection. He's like, shut up.
Yeah, he's got more. But, you know.
I used to have more. I got rid of a lot when I left college, and that was a huge mistake.
I know.
I've done the same thing. I sold a bunch one year for Christmas. Man, I had the NES, Super Nintendo, GameCube, 64, tons of games. There was like 4 boxes of stuff. I mean, big boxes. And I sold it all. And I got a decent amount of money. I sold it all just for Christmas money.
Stupid.
Yeah, but the thing is like, yeah. But the thing is that, yeah, I remember it like that, but then the kids remember, oh, that was the best Christmas ever. And I'm like, oh, I hate you for the rest of your lives now. So you've made me regret everything, so I hope it was worth it.
My dad did that, though. My dad did the same thing with, like, sports memorabilia. Like, he had, like, a whole room of it. And I think there was a year when we were having trouble because, like, he was sick and my mom got laid off. So we sold a ton of it just so we could do Christmas. So
Yeah,
doesn't make up for everything he's done. But it was definitely, like, an awesome thing for, like, a person to do, to be like, oh, I have this, like I think he had, like, he might still have Muhammad Ali signed gloves, but he had, like, Muhammad Ali signed gloves, like a Jordan basketball, like a Babe Ruth baseball. Like, he had legit sports stuff that, some of which he definitely sold.
Yeah, see, and that was the thing with me is I was never really into sports or anything, but video games have always been huge for me. So I had this collection I built up over the years, and my wife tried to tell me, she's like, don't do it, you're going to regret it. And I'm like, look, I'm doing it for them. Like, they need it. We don't have anything. We have some to give, but not much. It was just the job I was working just wasn't cutting it. So, and we just bought our first house and all kinds of nonsense. But, looking back, I'm glad I did it. But at the same time, I look at the collection I'm rebuilding now, and it's like one box, and I'm like, dang it. It kills me. And then I follow a couple different forums, like Nintendo forums and stuff, and I see whenever people post all this stuff, they're like, oh, man, I just got this for my collection. I'm like, I had that. And I miss it. I don't even break it out that often and play the games that much, really, but I'm looking forward to whenever, because my son just turned 6.
Yeah, so he's getting
prime time age.
Yeah, he's real into Skylanders.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his jam. He's all about Skylanders, which is cool. I'm like, man, I wish I had Skylanders when I was a little kid.
Right?
It's amazing looking. I mean, it's fun. I play it with him sometimes, and it's like, it's just for me. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can't get into this too long, but yeah, it's fun. I mean, he just and then my daughter, she plays Disney Infinity, which they're done, so
Yeah.
it sucks.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy more though.
That is true. Yeah,
True.
I'll just have to buy all the old crap now.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking forward to whenever they're like, hey, I want to play, because I started them out actually on old games. He didn't just jump right into Skylanders. We would play Mario and stuff like that together. So that's how they started. And then I'd play like New Super Mario Brothers Wii with them and stuff like that. And I think that's a pretty cool way of doing it. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, if they're my kids, I'll do whatever I want. Yeah, it's no big deal.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Berenstain Bears?
Oh,
Yeah, of course.
God.
Okay, how is that spelt? How do you remember it being spelt?
Is it Berenstein?
Okay, I remember as a kid Berenstein.
Yeah.
Now, if you look, and this is an older theory, but it's changed. I just had to get your opinion. He thinks I'm crazy, but it's now nobody can find anything with EIN. All the books are STAIN.
Oh.
Yeah, and I
That's
remember
weird.
it being EIN so vividly because it was like I learned to read on those books as a
Right.
kid, but now nobody can find it. I didn't know if you'd heard of it or.
No. I mean, I've definitely heard of it, but like, I don't remember the spelling exactly. But like, I don't remember an EAN. That
You
just
don't
seems
remember
weird.
EIN?
No, I remember EIN. I don't remember
Okay.
EAN.
Okay, yeah. I don't know.
He thinks. Now listen. Okay, here's the deal.
Okay.
He thinks that somebody, and this is a throwback to episode 1 of this. That's all we talked about, pretty much. He thinks somebody went back in time.
Okay.
Something happened, basically, that altered our reality, and we live in an alternate universe now where the main thing that has changed that's thrown everybody off is a popular, beloved children's book.
I mean, it was an accident. They didn't intentionally do it. It was John Titan. Probably. The guy.
Like Kennedy was supposed to have lived
Yeah.
in a totally different universe, and this is one of the results.
This is what happens. This is what happens when you mess with time.
Yeah.
I whatever, man. I guess we're not doing this again. Although we've had more tweets about that than anything else. People were really into it. So this guy's a genius. He's a marketing genius. He's bringing it back. Well, do you got anything going on that you want to talk about? You want to plug?
Sure. Listen to How to Be a Person. You can find it on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, most places you can find podcasts. Watch The Tonight Show on NBC, 11:30, 5 p.m.
Yeah.
You might have heard of it. It's also on YouTube. And just follow me on Twitter, at Mike Drucker, MikeDrucker.
Yeah, and you guys definitely need to follow him on Twitter because his tweets crack me up. They're hilarious. You're probably thinking after we talked for the first time, all of a sudden I'm liking all your tweets. You're like, oh, so this is what a stalker's like. I have a stalker now.
I'm just happy if anybody likes me. That's it.
Yeah.
Just anybody.
Man, some of the stuff that you say on there, though, it really, I retweet a lot of your stuff because it's
Thank you.
it's like, oh man, that was a good one. What was you said one that was, I wish I could be bit by a
Radioactive confident person.
Yeah.
Radioactive confident person. I would love to absorb that power.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, me too.
I think the nice thing about my job as a comedian, comedy writer, is I can say stuff like that online and not like have a boss be like, hey, can I talk to you for a second?
Right.
Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like even though I work for a corporation and I have a job, like
Sure.
part of
Yeah.
what comes with it is me doing that. Yeah.
It's like
so it's kind of nice.
You're supposed to be funny. Like that's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Well,
and I can write crazy stuff.
although you better be careful because I was listening to the What Say You podcast with the guys who do Impractical Jokers,
Oh yeah.
and I guess one of them, what's his name? Saul is one of them, I think.
Yeah.
He just tweeted something. I guess they were going back and forth. Him and some friends kind of just burning each other.
Right.
And somebody got him real good, and he just said, "I hate my life. I want to die." # for the win. And didn't think anything about it. And then they went and did this show, and afterwards the police showed up at his hotel room and knocked on the door, and he opened the door, and he's like, I think you guys got the wrong room. And they're like, no, we're here to talk to you. Do you feel safe? Are you okay? Do you want to hurt yourself? Somebody called the police and thought it was like a cry for help. It's like, the guy's a comedian. That's what he does.
Right. Also, it's like in an argument with his friends. It's not like him, it's not like 25 tweets in a row and you're like, oh, this is legit.
Yeah. No, it was just like, oh, yeah, somebody said something. Oh, I hate my life for the win.
And I'm sure the police are the same way, where they're like, it's just a comedian, but we have to, because if he does kill himself, then we're sorry, I swore again.
It's all right. We're just gonna we'll beep it out with jumping.
Yeah.
Boing. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I just think that you should be able, and somebody that's in your shoes, you should be able to do that kind of stuff.
Right.
Obviously, you're joking. Obviously, he was joking, but somebody was like, took it upon themselves. I'm really concerned. And it's probably somebody he doesn't even know.
Right.
The weird thing is that somehow they knew where he was and everything, because the police said the caller said exactly where he was, and he knows it wasn't any of the guys playing a joke on him because they never used real police or anything. So, I don't know. It's pretty crazy. So be careful, Mike Drucker. I'm worried about you. Trying to watch out for you, bro.
I'll be okay.
All right. Well, that's all we have this week. Make sure to check us out. You can find us on Twitter at dude_podcast. Look at our Facebook page with your eyeballs. It's good stuff on there. Mostly because Zach does a lot of it, and the stuff that you really hate is probably stuff that I did. But it's okay. It's not a big deal. I like it, and it's fun for me. It makes me smile. So that's all I do it for. But it's just Stuck in the Heartland on Facebook. We have an Instagram. You did fix it, right?
It's just Stuck in the Heartland.
Just Stuck in the Heart. This guy over here, Instagram, he put Heartland. It's like, what are you doing, man? But you guys also, I just started writing for a website called Saturday Morning Rewind. I've been doing reviews and articles for them. So go to SaturdayMorningRewind.com, check that out. They also have a podcast, so go over there and listen to them. They do a lot of interviews with voice actors from cartoons. Have you heard of them, Mike?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Morning Rewind. Man, it's so cool. He's had Rob Paulson, Jim Cummings, like all kinds of just amazing people on this. So guys, go over there, listen to them. And until next time, dude, remember this.
Yep.